Part of my origin story with planning is the deep and real struggle finding how to best connect my work plans with my home life and just using one planner to help with that all. It has really taken me the better part of 2 years that allows me to capture the intricacies of working a corporate job with the additional plans and goals and everything else that just piles up at home. And then that just doesn't even include the complexities of like managing Plan with Laur and like other things that go on. But that's another story for another day and another video. Today, we are going to talk all about how I use a planning system for work, how I mirror that with the digital planning tools that I already use at my corporate job, and give you some tips and tricks that hopefully allows you to find a planner or a planning system that allows you to be the best at work and at home. Let me know in the comments down below what currently are you using for work. If you're in two different planners, like work and personal or work and home, let me know all that info in the comments down below. Hey y'all, my name is Lauren here with Plan with Laur. I am your best friend and your go-to gal when it comes to all things planning, productivity, and how to use the resources that you have to plan today for a better tomorrow. Okay, so at the company that I work for, we use digital everything. I feel like that's not uncommon just given the world that we're in. From meetings to projects to launches to communicating, everything is done via my laptop or my computer. And you probably know that it can be super hard to keep track of all of the emails that are coming in, the Zoom links that are happening, the meetings, and just the random notifications that you just get from being online all the time. And I'm not gonna lie, there's just something about being able to write out a scheduled appointment on paper that makes me feel like 60% more confident that I'll show up for it and more prepared for it. But if you like using paper planners, sometimes it feels like the corporate environment or the work environment isn't a welcoming environment for us paper planners out there. At least that's how I felt when I first started my job. But I am here to tell you that that is not true. My paper planner people, stay strong out there. I got you. You don't have to give up your favorite planner just to keep up and keep on track at work. So here's some of my tips to keep me organized and not drop the ball at work. First thing that you're gonna do is take those digital tools, whether it's calendar, Zoom, whatever it may be, and have them as tools that work with you instead of tools against you. Whether you use Google Calendar, Microsoft Outlook, or some other calendar system entirely, it's so easy for digital calendars to get cluttered on paper and online. With online calendars, you have to play within the restraints of how the software is designed. So I created a little planner routine that I go through with my work calendar. I find an anchor point in my day. For me, lately, it's right after my daily team meeting at 9 a.m. But for you, it could be during your lunch break or even the last thing you do before shutting off your computer for the day. But I find that anchor point, and even if it's just for 5 minutes, I review my calendar. And not just for today or tomorrow if you're someone who's using it at the end of the day, but for the week entirety. I'm looking at my weekly calendar every single day. Your job may be meeting heavy, or maybe it's project heavy. Maybe it's client facing. Regardless, you will create an understanding for yourself of the free time and the busy time on your schedule for the rest of the week. And most importantly, it will help better contextualize what you actually have to get done for the day and how much time you have to do that. When I get a new email in my inbox for yet another project that's due by Thursday, or another meeting proposed for the middle of the day tomorrow, I'm able to understand what that means because I have a mental picture of what my week looks like. And here's the question I get asked by planners all the time. How am I supposed to use my planner with that? My calendar's constantly changing. Things are constantly changing for me on a day-to-day basis. So here's where we merge those digital tools and those paper tools together. So I'm constantly evaluating my digital week on my calendar on a day-to-day basis. However, I am not writing out my meeting schedule on a piece of paper until the day of. And here's the thing with that. Still, meetings may change and still things may shift throughout the day. And I am no stranger to crossing things off in my planner or completely whiting them out if they didn't happen. The second thing that I do is time block. Recently, I've become a much bigger proponent of time blocking, especially because sometimes I struggle to focus on one task at hand when there's so many different meetings and requests coming in throughout the day. One thing that I've learned is that time blocking protects and values your time. Now, I'm not saying that I time block out every single aspect of my day from when I log on at 9 a.m. to when I finish at 5. It's kind of like side time blocking. More of along the lines of what I'm trying to say is that because there are so many different things that can happen in a day, every day I block out a certain amount of time where I do what I call focus work. And during that focus time, I put myself on do not disturb on my work applications as well as on my personal applications. Most of the time, I will even just put my phone in the kitchen away from where I'm actually working. And that's when I'll really get to like deep dive into the projects that I have going on, or I'm deep diving into the work that I'm doing. And that focus time is not something that remains the same from a day-to-day basis because my calendar does not remain the same from a day-to-day basis. And for me, putting that focus time on the calendar is just so important because it actually allows me to get work done, and it allows me not to have competing priorities for everything that is going on. Now, do I go radio silent? Absolutely not. If someone needed me, they could reach me, or if I needed to respond to something, I could. But by even just blocking those times out throughout the week, I'm able again to really mentally prepare to say, hey, during these time blocks of focus time, I'm really just going to shut off the rest of the world. I'm going to put in my headphones, I'm going to listen to my favorite podcast, and I'm just going to 100% work without distraction. One thing that my partner John Michael uses, he also is a time blocker, but he does it a little bit more extensively than I do, but he does use a Pomodoro timer in which he'll work for 30 minutes, an alarm will go off, he'll get a 5-minute break, and then he'll get to go back again. For him, that works the best. So I'll go ahead and I'll link the Pomodoro timer down below if that's something that you want to try to incorporate, because for him, the short breaks throughout the day really help with his productivity. Okay, so those are some of the digital tricks that I use at work, but let's pivot and talk about paper because that is truly where you have the most flexibility and the most control, and honestly where I think the magic is. And my third recommendation is to go ahead and commit to a planner or an organizational system that complements your responsibilities at work. Your job hopefully is predictable enough where you can tell what you will do on a day-to-day basis. Maybe you don't know the specifics of what they are, but you'll know if you're more meeting heavy, or if you're more project heavy, or if you're traveling, or whatever it may be. And it's important to choose a planner and organization system that helps you tackle that head on. Recently, I posted a whole series where I talked about different planner layouts and different ways that you can use your planner. And if you're new to planning, a lot of the typical layouts are called horizontal, vertical, and hourly. So I'll make sure to go ahead and link those videos down in the description if you want some more ideas on how to use those layouts. Okay, but here's what choosing a layout, especially if you're wanting to use a paper planner for work, looks like. If you're always running from meeting to meeting in a normal workday, then you're probably going to want a planner that has room for scheduling as well as room for notes. For a person with a meeting heavy job, I probably would go ahead and recommend an hourly planner because you are given the scheduling aspect that an hourly planner has, but you also have note pages throughout whatever planner that you choose to be able to use to take notes during your job. If your work is one long to-do list, then maybe a horizontal planner where you can just write out all of the tasks that you have on a day-to-day basis. Or maybe you do a little bit of everything. In that case, I probably recommend a vertical planner where you could section off the days differently every single day to be able to handle whatever your job is throwing at you. I promise that finding a layout that works for you in the job that you currently have will hopefully make things easier. And maybe you're wondering, well, what do I use at work? I have a little bit of a combination. My personal job changes from every single day. It's client facing, it's meeting heavy, and it's project heavy. And quite frankly, it was very hard to be able to find a planner that worked the best for me. Even though I just did lay out all of those ideas, nothing is ever a one size fits all. So what do I use? Well, if you guys have seen my 2021 lineup video, then you know that one of the main planners that I'm using this year is an Erin Condren hourly planner. Quite frankly, I use that planner plus a blank notebook for work, and it works out perfectly for me. I am not writing every single meeting that I have down every single day in my hourly planner. That's also like the planner that I use for my life and my goals and, all of the other things that we use planners for. If I have something a little bit out of the ordinary with my work, or I have important meetings or things that I have to attend throughout the week, then I will go ahead and I will put that in my hourly planner. And then everything else I just use a blank notebook. I found for me personally, as someone who is juggling a schedule, juggling to-dos, juggling meeting notes, that I just needed a blank notebook where every single day I could write in something. What does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Well, first thing when I open up my laptop and I go ahead and I look at my schedule, what I will go ahead and do is I will literally just write schedule at the top of my piece of paper, and I will write in whatever meetings I have coming up for the day. That for me, just again, being able to write that on paper makes just me feel more prepared and just feel like I can show up to those meetings on time and be prepared for those meetings. Then what I go ahead and do is I just write out a master to-do list for my whole entire day. And I'll write in everything that needs to get done. Now that's really kind of what I do. Now on some days, that's the only page that I reference. However, on other days, I'm having to take notes for a meeting, or I'm having to take notes for a project, or I need to circle back on things or write in phone numbers or whatever it may be. And then I have a whole blank notebook that I can do whatever with. Y'all, it is not indexed. There are no fancy pages. I'm not using decorative elements. I'm not doing any of that. This is literally just a functional notebook that holds everything that I need for work. And for me, that is what I have found is the best planner, or really an organizational system that allows me to still work within the confines of work, which is digital, which is still I have to, schedule all my meetings, and that holds my master calendar, but paper, which is what ultimately works for me. Listen, everyone's process is going to be different, and what best enables me at work may be different than what best enables you. Your process might be that you track everything at work and at home in one planner. Your process might be that you only plan for work things in your work planner and keep everything else separate. Some people don't feel comfortable using multiple planners, and I totally get that as well. Listen, my journey of finding what works for me is not linear. It did not start this way. When I was back in an office, I actually had a office planner. So I had a planner that I just left at the office. I think I've used the Erin Condren Daily Duo as well as the Simplified, just their signature planner, but those used to be my work planners where I would just keep them at my office and I would use them to schedule out my day on a day-to-day basis. That has changed since we're more in the virtual environment, and I bet it will continue to change as my season of life changes. Y'all, I feel like I could talk about it all day about how we merge home planning with work planning, but I'll go ahead and I'll cut myself off here. I'd love to know your thoughts on keeping a separate work planner or organizational system from a home planner. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right, y'all, now that is all that I have for you today. If you are new here, welcome. I hope that you decide to stick around by hitting that red subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday and Thursday. And as always, y'all, my name is Lauren here with Plan with Laur, and I'll see y'all next time.